Hello and welcome to this tutorial, very rough tutorial or more sort of process video on how I arranged Julia from Final Fantasy VIII for Music Box. This video does not cover any of the hole punching, cutting out, sticking together aspect. I highly recommend Wintergatan's video. Instead, this covers the part before it where I take a tune that I can play on piano and decide what music box notes I want it to be, taking into account the range of the 30-note music box and other limitations and idiomatic features. I feel like, first of all, that this is quite a long and rambling video. It's kind of slow TV process. Also, I've been making music boxes for all of less than a year, a few months now. So while I make some very sweeping statements about what does and doesn't work on Music Box and what is very Music Box-like, feel free to take that with a grain of salt. I'm going to share some, tips and tricks that I've developed that have made my Music Box making life a lot easier and smoother. They may or may not work for you. They may just be incredibly neat, but see what you think. If you like what I did with Julia and other recordings that I've done, like The Head on Our Way, yes, this is how it was done. Enjoy. Hello! I think we're on. Yeah. So I just want to do a little bit of a process how-to video now that I somewhat have a process. So the first thing I'm going to do, which I have actually already done, but I'm going to redo a little bit to show you how, is I'm going to actually record in how I want the piece to go on Logic. You can also just write it out on a bit of paper, which I have done as well. Part of the reason that I do it on Logic, at least with the 30-note music box, is it's just easier to remember which notes I have available to me without putting stickers on the keyboard or something. Let me explain. The 30-note music box, as made by Grand Illusions, which is amazing, has these notes on it. Or technically it does not have these notes on it. This is a transposed score, but the printout bits of paper that you tend to see have, you can hardly see that, these notes. You see it starts at C, D, G, A at the bottom, and that's what's here. It is good for writing pieces in C because you have a low C and then you have a high E, which is the third, so that's quite nice. But right, that was a long convoluted way of saying you do not have all the notes. And I like to have an arrangement that sits as well as possible for the actual instrument, which is to say the music box, rather than just transcribing something, or not even transcribing something, then just taking an existing piece of sheet music and writing it like this and finding I don't have half the notes. Still not explaining it well. Right, you do not have all the notes, far from it. You have a chromatic bit in the middle here, and then you have not chromatic right at the top, and then you have less bass notes, which makes sense, which fits really well with how you'd write a lot of music. But I certainly don't have this memorized. So the reason I like doing this on MIDI keyboard on Logic is twofold. What I found really useful is I've set up a software instrument. I don't know if you can see, but I've basically only given it the available notes. Also, then I can just take this whole thing and move the bottom note to whatever I want. Like in this case, I've moved the bottom note to an A. And that means the highest note is a C sharp. This would be good for writing pieces in the key of A. I'm using it to write a piece that's in the key of E, as you'll see, because I also think that's quite good, because that means, I do use the low A a bit, but that means that the E is a low E is available. And then we've got a couple, the fourth and the fifth, below that. This also means that I can play in tunes like I did with Tifa's theme and Aerith's theme in the keys that I know. So if I'm playing them, I can play them in the key that I know, moving the notes, the possible notes, to wherever suits best, and then I'll just move them again, and then I'll write down in C. That was extremely long-winded. Anyway, I don't know, I find this way really helpful rather than writing it out on a stave and having to remember, especially these kind of fiddly notes, which one you don't have, because there's not a lot of pattern to it. Writing it out on a stave is absolutely what I do for the 15-note music box, because that is simply 2 octaves, white notes, diatonic scale. So that's fine and easy, because it's not hard to remember that you've got 2 octaves. Anyway, so once I've got that, I can kind of play around with this, and I can just literally hear what notes I have and what notes I don't have. I might leave this up so I can see what notes I have and what notes I don't have. And then I'm just gonna come up with a sort of an arrangement. Oh, there's no C sharp there. So the beginning, I might want to do like... And then we'll have to go to this C sharp. Something like that. And you can record it in all together, or the left hand and then the right hand, which might be what I will do, just because my keyboard I've got on my desk isn't really large enough to play hands far away. So I might record that. Yeah, don't know. I've got this low A, which I can now use. That's how it's written. I might want to add something kind of fancy. I have to skip up. Okay, so I missed out a note there, so we're going to put that in. What am I doing? Da, da, da. Okay, I mean, so that's basically it. I'm going to continue doing that for the whole piece. I'm going to add in some more twiddles. When I've done the whole piece that I'm happy with, there's one thing to watch out for, is that this piece has the part that goes. And those are repeated quavers, and the music box strips as printed can't play repeated actual quavers. There's ways round this. I think with the Aerith box, maybe I just slightly rubatoed them out a little bit, so you can do and then those 2 notes will actually repeat, whereas really they wouldn't. Or you can just print out some slightly stretched, scaled music, or you can write it out entirely twice as slowly as you want, because it's not the speed. Twisting the little handle faster or slower won't make any difference to what let me show you the box, to what the box can actually play. It's just literally how far around the thing can go before hitting the next hole. But anyway, I decided with this piece that I'm going to come up with a way around that in the music. I'm going to do like, rather than, because I don't want to print, it means printing like a longer bit of paper, and it means sticking together more bits of paper, and that's a faff, so I'm just going to leave it. Once I've written out in MIDI little notes my whole piece. What was that? What I will tend to do is I will quantize most of it. But you see this, I want that to be a spread chord. So let's just say I'm going to stick all that to neat quavers. This will just make it easier for me to copy out. Oh, I don't want that to be all together, do I? It's just to remind me when I punch the holes that I want this to be a spread chord. Huh. So that's not going to work, is it? That's a quaver and a quaver. So I can't do that one. Which is fine. This note will keep resounding, so we'll hear it underneath that. And that's a triplet, so we will write it as an actual triplet so that I remember that. That's not where the triplet's going. Da da dum bum bum is what I want. Da da bum bum bum, like that. So once I've done that, what I've been doing recently, partly to check if there are any repeated quavers, and also to make sure, I can't really tell what exactly it will sound like on a music box, and this is the wrong pitch, but to have some idea of how it sounds on a music box is that I will MIDI transform to fixed velocity, because obviously on a music box you can't change how loud you're going to pluck the things. It's like a harpsichord because you're plucking the little, what are they called, like metal tongues, tines things. Doesn't need to be 100, that seems loud. Sure. So now these are all the same volume, the same dynamics, and that should be fine. I'm also going to make them all a fixed note length, and I'm actually going to make that note length a quaver. And then this would also show me visually, I can scan over that and have a quick look if I've got any repeated quavers. Yeah, so I do that with the whole piece. And here's one I did earlier. Let me see if I can make this louder. I can't make it louder. I'll turn it up in post. ASMR. We'll do some fiddles. I didn't notice these, did I? So we can't have that. Can't have that note because it won't sound unless I want to change it, so that's okay. That sounds a little empty to me now. So where else can we put this note? Maybe we can put it there. There. What chord are we doing here? So we got like an E. Nope. Nope. It's gonna be a, I don't know. Maybe we go to that. I quite like that. I like to have a chord on each of that little decoration. So here's some little chords that I'm going to remember to leave spread chords. This is fine. Doing vertically next to each other notes is absolutely fine. So yeah, the rest of it will have to be a surprise with when I play the box. But that's the most exciting part, really. Basically, on the whole, I want to arrange things slightly for Music Box so that they are a little bit Music Boxy. So they're really similar to piano, but you can do things that would be kind of inefficient, like your hands crossing over, or you can have more notes. I guess you could have more notes than you could play on piano, but that would be more than 10 notes at a time, and I don't think I've done that at any point. But yeah, there is actually no reason why it needs to be pianistic at all, except that it still feels a little characteristic to kind of have this kind of... That's quite music boxy. I've discovered that twiddles can't be done. Trills can't be done because you're repeating a note. But scales are absolutely lovely. And just this kind of romantic run where the it changes from semiquavers to semiquaver triplets. I've got a scale kind of in sixths here. Sixth works better than thirds because, again, if you're doing a scale and a run of like that in thirds, by that point I'm repeating this first note in the lower part. And if it's in semiquavers, then the repetition of that note is going to be at quavers, and you can't do that. So sixths is going to cause you less problems. Yeah, whatever. That's definitely an issue I had with the Cloud Smiles box, because it had all kinds of runs going in all directions, and I just had to go through and make sure that none of them hit each other in a way that repeated the notes too fast. I am actually going to delete these muted notes because that will just confuse me. And I'll play a little bit more because just sort of arrangement-wise things on Music Box. Octaves sound nice. I mean, this is not how it sounds. You'll hear it on the real box. Sound very striking. So they're a good effect. And just using the contrast of when you want the music to be basically low and when you want it to be really high. You're a bit limited because, as we said, like, if you want a, I don't know, like, if you want a D sharp or an E flat, that's the only one that you can have. That's an extreme example. But so, you know, you can't really play a tune down here as much. And then you don't have all the chromatics up here, which can be important. Like actually here. So I go high here. We don't actually have this top note. Da, 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 da. We don't have it this top octave. It would be what? So it's the octave below. I've put it there. And then I've done that because we do have that C sharp. And then also I've avoided that repeated note by jumping the octaves. I don't want that one. So instead of da da da, I've done da da ba, which I think works okay on the box. And because I've done it both times, it's a thing. And then we've used the lower notes. Right, so once I have that, let me move me up here. This now, we can now write this straight onto a bit of paper. Or what I'm thinking I might do for this one is my other approach, which is do this graphically and then print it out and punch the holes. What you can also do is put this into Music Box Maniacs, and theoretically you can export a MIDI and then import it into Music Box Maniacs, and it will automatically, let me show you what that looks like. Yeah, so say I want it on this one here. Okay, this is working decently. Yes, it'll do this for you. and then you can print this out. So if you have something fairly simple, I don't know why it messed up the rhythm. It just shifted things over by a quaver for no apparent reason. Also, though, this does have semiquavers in it, and it is automatically spaced out to twice as many bars, so that's nice in a way. Except it has just missed some of them by one increment, which means if you don't check this through and change the note, you're going to be confused. So do that. So this is fine. And yeah, it would be a lot quicker. But I like my semiquavers and my triplets and my spread chords. What the f is this? Did I just not pay attention to things at all? As I say, you can now just start writing this out on your punch card, which you have came with your box, or you ordered some more, or you printed them out on A4 cards and then you stick together a whole bunch, or A3. I have discovered, I don't know about everyone's printer, that my Common and Garden domestic printer will print half sheets of A3. Like, it will feed that long a paper through it, so you just need to tell it the dimensions, which is half the width of A3 and the full height of A3. So that saves you a certain amount of sticking together multiple pages. But also, sticking together multiple pages isn't the end of the world. The Wintergatan video about the diagonal cutting of the strips of paper is a very good thing to do. I will link to that video if you haven't already seen it for some reason. The alternative, if you don't want to immediately do that, for instance, if you want to be able to print out lots of copies of this and you just have it, is I'm going to open up some blank paper that I made earlier. For blank copy 3. So this is now an A3 sheet. If I had a way of printing A3, I could do that. Or what I would do is copy out half of this and print half, and then the other half on my half A3 strips, which I have cut out earlier. I also arranged it so that this is where bar 12 starts, and then this is where bar 12 starts, so there's enough overlap that I can stick them over each other and then cut it. Yeah. So I'm now going to open this in either, you can do it in preview, you can just use markup to draw some, little tiny dots or X's where you want the notes to be. And I did this for some of the boxes earlier on. So it's just a little bit fiddly. It is a little bit fiddly. So here, oh look, I want to make an E, so I'm going to do that. And then it's really awkward to get another one because it's so small. So yeah, that's a possibility. It's nice because it lines it up. No, cursor turn into a little hand, come on. Yeah, so you can do that and then you print that out, but I don't want to do that. I'm actually going to open this up in GIMP or, Photoshop if you have it, or Paint. Like, this would be really pretty good in Paint. Oh, except there is one thing I want to do with layers, which you wouldn't be able to do in Paint as far as I know. My blank sheet of paper. I'm just going to write on it, but on GIMP. Remember, though, that this is not in the key, or that we were talking about at the beginning. This is not on the right key at the moment, or, yeah, not on the right key, not on the right note. The lowest note of the written music box paper is C, and I was using music box that starts on A as a sound, so I'm just gonna select everything and then move the lowest note from an A to a C. And then we should be all good. And I did also just now change the sounds. That's not important, just I guess just so I can sort of check what's going on. Right, so now that I've got this, I'm just going to align this screen so the lowest note is in view. There's a handy option to display note labels, which is really handy because it's a real faff to zoom in and be like, it's an F sharp. It's just a lot easier because you're seeing so many notes at once. And then the highest note is this B, which is just here. Well, that's interesting, I can't hear it. There it is, it's octave low. And is the lowest A, or lowest C now, just about still in sharp. Great. So I just want to be able to see all of that at one go. This would be easier if my face wasn't in the way. I don't know what I'm going to do with my face. Now I don't want to draw any dots directly onto this layer because then I can't move them around, I can't delete them as easily. So I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm just going to draw some, dots, and then, if I don't like them, I can just erase it without erasing this really easily. Those are all stupid dots in the wrong places. The actual ones I want, the first note I'm going to need is a D, not the very lowest D, but this one, and it's on the 4th beat of the bar, and then we've got a G octave here, G to G. If you see, there's a little arrow to the left of this screen, which I should highlight in post, which shows you what notes you're lining up with, which is quite useful. And then on this quaver, we've got a D, see here, and then we've got an A, an F sharp. Here, I might just write out these notes because they outline the crotchets and will mean I'm not going to get lost in the bar as much. So G, A, B, D up here, G, A, B. This is the section where it's mostly chromatic, so we have all of the notes, or it's all chromatic in this one section, so it's quite nice. But down here you really can't see and guess looking at the spacing what notes you're going to have, so you need to reference this unless you learn it, which I don't know, there's very little to hold on to. These are the C's, but beyond that, yeah. And then underneath the A we have an F sharp, and then we've got another G on this quaver, and then underneath that B we've got a G. It doesn't matter if I write them slightly not exactly in place because this isn't actually punching the holes. I am going to hand punch the holes later, but if I do it this much, that is going to suggest to me that it's a spread chord and I did it on purpose. So I just want to do it close enough. And here we've got an F sharp, that's a G. Here we've got an F sharp. It is very likely I'm going to make a mistake, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. Now I want to scroll over, but oh no, I've lost my reference. So what I'm going to do here is just copy this little bit of this and then put it on a new layer, so then I can drag it with me, like I got this from Wintergarten as well, like you can drag a little bit of cardboard with you when you're doing it by hand. Do new layer, and then we're going to make this layer, I'm going to make this a multiply layer just so that you can put it on top of things. So then all I need to do is do that, and then we're going to start from bar 3, which is here. I can scroll that a bit as well. I could even try to line up the bars, but I'm not going to very well, I don't think. Because if I zoom this in, yeah, you lose the note names, which I would like to keep. I guess I can make these longer again. I should be able to make them all a crotchet long without running into any repeated notes, so let's do that. And that will allow us to actually decently, except my face is in the way, decently line up. So we've got an E, a G and a B at the beginning. Make sure I'm actually going to write on the layer that I want to, by the way. E, G, G and a B, and then we've got a B and a G and an F sharp and a B. Dum bum 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 bum, and that's our triplet, so we've got to remember that that is a triplet. Bing. So the triplet is going to start here on a D. And then before that we've got F sharp, G. So the triplet, I'm just going to have to space 3 notes across these 2 quavers, like a triplet normally goes. Obviously, you can just print this off if you use Music Box Maniacs. I tried also a way of like exporting this graphically as a screenshot, because that's the only way you could do, into GIMP, and I thought this would be easy enough on a 15-note music box because you're using all the notes. I'd forgotten about you know, sharps and flats, and that yes, we're using all the notes, but this very much assumes that you've got a chromatic scale. So yeah, that wasn't quicker. You then had to move everything. So I don't know. There's definitely a way to do it, but there isn't a program that does it at the moment that I have. There must be one. I want, if someone can make a thing that will just export this graphically to just to a set of notes that I want there to be, like Music Box Maniacs, but this is very important, with exact rhythmic precision. Because what I was trying when I was trying to export this directly was if I play something in completely out of rhythm, like completely out of meter, just play it completely freely, like that, it should be possible to print that, have it exactly rhythm, and then hole punch that. So that will be cool. We don't have that at the moment. I don't have that. That's not how I've been doing these, so